Denny Young is no fool. Under this casual demeanor is a deep analytical thinker. He's always ready to pounce on anything that helps keep production quality intact. What secret is he sharing with us today? A dynamic way of hanging and racking that may just get you to drop the box. We're examining how this 40 under 40 got creative utilizing line coat hook systems differently to maximize his batch ovens, keeping employees busy and money rolling to seven figures. You might want to watch this episode on YouTube as we go behind the scenes to tour his facility and view his unique ways. Get ready to level up your powder coater game. Welcome to the Powder Coater podcast. I'm your co-host. My other co-host is working. His name is Ross Scott. We own Maui Powder Works, and we have the Powder Coater podcast, which we try to publish every week, a new topic on how to scale your powder coating business. Today, I am happy to announce, I guess what I would call a new old friend.
That's fair.
His name is Denny Young, and he and his dad, Joe Young, have partnered together, and they own DJ Powder Coating in North Carolina. Denny, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Welcome to the show.
I do very much so appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, it's the fun world of powder coating.
Yeah, and you've been in it a while, right?
I've been powder coating since I was 14 years old. I'm the classic story of a backyard powder coater. And yeah. And, just did a little bit of metalworking, and then I started realizing that kind of led into buying the Harbor Freight gun. And, my dad built a powder coating oven, and I realized that I liked bringing things to life and actually, taking something that doesn't look good and making it look beautiful. And I like that a lot more. So it's that artistic side. And
yeah,
then, so that was actually about 2008. And then got hooked up with a big contract, moved into a substantial building in 2012, then upgraded and been just rocking and rolling ever since. So
yeah, you guys have really scaled well, I guess, in my opinion. And I think I'm going to head over to your website here in a second, but I think one of the things that kind of caught my eye, because I'm always on the lookout for powder coating companies that just, I'm not sure if they do it right or they do it uniquely, or they do it.
I think that's Ross. The biggest question.
Right?
I think every powder coater asks that question.
Right. I mean,
yeah,
just something about DJ that you guys have managed to scale well and yet maintain the quality. How? And I think we're going to kind of dive into it a little bit later in the show, because more about the topic is coming up. And I think we're kind of coming to realize how one of the reasons, or one of the hows as to how you've done this. And I'm the one that pointed it out to you, and then you kind of say, yeah, maybe that's why. But I mean, obviously you have methods that are, and ways that are so different. So
I just went with it, and it made sense to me at the time. But, it's always funny because, I asked like you said, you brought it up to me, and I was like, people don't do this. It was my way, and it just seemed to make sense. So I don't know.
I'm going to share my screen hold on. Well, keep talking, Denny, because I'm just going to bring up the screen and tell us how big your facility is and like, did you move or did you ever have to move or did you just keep on adding?
Well, we actually, in 2012, we got this. It was about 1,500, 2,000 square feet, something, nothing crazy. And then after a year, we were like, we need a bigger facility. And we actually moved across the street and to a bigger facility, and it's about 6,000 square feet. And we had one oven at the time and 8x8x22. And, racks is always a batch powder coaters in space. Where do you put the racks? How do you stage things? How do you get enough to keep things moving?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, those pictures that you got right now, some of those are in the first building, but yeah. And then in 2013, we just kind of grew and just grew over, got some companies, and then 2015 we started another oven. And the biggest thing was racking.
Yeah,
racking is everything for a powder coater. That's the biggest question. When you first get a quote, the first thing a lot of powder coaters should be asking is, okay, how am I going to hang it? How am I going to hang it to where I can wash it properly, make sure no water gets? How can my coaters, applicators actually coat it efficiently? And then let's get in the oven as fast as possible with, good quality. And that was everything. And so, when I was actually at the smaller facility, I have a 8x8x22 foot oven. Well, let's build a 7.5x7.5x20 foot long rack. And that worked, but it was always, that's just what I thought we should do.
Mm-hmm.
You got a big oven?
Guessing.
Put a big rack in.
Yeah.
Let's fill it up.
I think a lot of powder coaters don't really.
Yeah, yeah.
About racks. Right?
So it's like, it's just, hey, let's do that.
Yeah.
And, ironically, the first big contract I got, we had a bunch of little small parts and stuff, and we would do it. And we had a bunch of big heavy parts that we would do at the same time. And that contract lasted for a couple of years, but then we moved, and then I was like, okay, I've got a lot more space. Let's rethink this. Now, to keep things moving, you've got to pre-treat, you got to preheat.
Yeah.
And then you put it into coat, you put it into cure, and you pull it out, and then somebody unhangs. I'm like, well, how do we get all those processes mixed in simultaneously? And so we kind of came up with the idea, and we just got an 8-foot oven. So we got doubles and skinnies. We've got yeah, I know it's crazy.
I should probably let's start with the video, because I think starting with the video and the walkthrough,
it's hard to explain, and
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
you guys also do, you guys also are doing the what's it called? The decoral too?
Oh, yes.
Those are some of the other stuff. So you've got a lot going on at your facility. You've got the decoral, which is, what is decoral again?
It's sublimation. It gets powder coated, but it's making things look like wood grain.
Okay.
Sublimation process.
So you've got that, and then you do the powder coating. Is there anything else other than powder coating and sublimation?
Some things are in the works.
That's a loaded question.
Not at this point. Some things are in the works, but not at this point. I try not to get too far ahead of myself.
Good answer.
I try to, walk before you run. Make sure you got your feet underneath you before you start going crazy. So, but yeah, we're working on some other stuff. And we do our in-house media blasting as well.
Oh, right. Okay. So you just can do blasting for people and not have to do powder coating side. Yeah. So you're just available for that. Okay. So yeah, let me pop up this video because your dad took a really good video for us for this show. And is it this one? No, that's something else. So we saw where's the video? Here we go. Okay. I finally found the video. So let me share my screen and hopefully we can get it going. I'm not sure you're going to be able to hear the video, but you'll be able to see around the shop and some of the stuff that they do. So can you see that, Denny?
Yes. That is what we call a skinny. All skinnies. Yeah. That is in my smaller oven, actually. And we do lots and lots of, actually, those are washed parts. Those look pretty, don't they? That's zirconium. Look at that.
Yeah, you took pictures of this.
Yeah, that was something we developed later after we got a little bit smarter. After a couple of years, we were like, we can innovate a little bit more. Let's pre-stage everything.
Yeah.
So all those parts that you see is we pre-hang everything.
Right.
And then they just pick up, put them on the racks, and they go straight to wash. So it's a very quick change. There's no waiting they cool down very quickly, grab the racks, put them in there, grab a new set, go straight to the washroom, and just roll. Right.
So, when you and I were talking the other day, and this video goes so fast, it's a bit overwhelming. So it's kind of cool that we're able to stop it and then talk about it and then get back to it. But I think I have you talked to me earlier and said that you buy all these hook racks from actually Mighty Hook. Yeah, Mighty Hook. And they're actually for conveyor belts, but you've modified it.
Yep.
And I'm going to see if I can find let me stop my share and see if I can find here's a good picture. So I'm going to share my screen again of this one that you took is really nice because you can see the overhead.
Oh yeah.
So everything's kind of on this conveyor thing going back and back to stack it all. But when you pick it up, what do you pick it up with?
Just two hands. You just grab it. The guys just grab it. I mean, it's just the whole idea was this: when you have thousands of parts with a batch system, we just wanted to pre-stage it because it takes. When we first started with this company, and I never thought you would never think you can make money doing these things. I don't charge much for these parts, but the fact that we can run them through so quickly, because when we first started, you hang them on the rack, it's taking forever.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay. And I mean, I've done, once a month, I might do 9,000 parts for this customer. And, but so we just pre-stage them, but then we just run your wheels, you run your frames, you run everything else, you run your car chassis. Then when we're ready to do enduro, when we got 1,500 parts or something like that, then you take your wheels down, you just grab them, boom, 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 put them on the racks, go straight to the washroom, and you get it all done. The frames cool off pretty quickly. You pull them back over to small parts is what we call it. And, then one person sits over there and inspects them, packs them, and goes on about their day. So it's a very efficient way to get a lot of stuff moving without the hanging time.
Right, because that's
And
the long time. I mean, we just quoted somebody yesterday $800, and I mean, seriously, it was going to take us longer to hang it than it was to powder coat it, and we just kind of, and it was just small, like chandelier parts. You know, I think there was some washers in there. There was kind of a base, you know, where the wire goes through. And there was some kind of a decorative piece, ring type, looked like a gold ring, but it, you know, he can't get it in the matte white. And, you know, it's kind of sad to say that, you know, we had to quote kind of high. And if we'd had something like this, we probably could have charged less and he would have bought it, you know, he would have moved forward with the job. But, you know, at some point we got to get paid. And I think having something like this that could fit in the small oven, even if it's just like one or two of them, not, you know, obviously you're doing thousands of parts, but this was like literally 300 parts. We could have easily have.
And either way, if you give yourself enough lead time on a job like that, you just kind of, at the end of the day, maybe, you know, whenever you can, you kind of keep running through your day. But in the cure time, whenever you got a spare moment, you go over there and grab a little, you know, a little spare time, try to tinker and play with it and hang something like this. And even if it's on a small scale, you know, then you just kind of figure out how you want to hang it and then kind of work on it as you can with the time. Then you grab the rack, boom, throw it on there when you're ready to go to pre-treat, preheat, coat, cure, unhang it. Then you can figure out how to unhang it, unmask it later, and you're just right moving.
Right.
And actually, I do have a kind of partner with a line that actually, after seeing this, even though he has a line, he still built a small version of this on his setup in his shop about pre-staging.
Interesting. So you're even influencing your own market.
And that's on a line. You know, so and we work very closely. I mean, batches and lines, they always, you know, they're two different worlds. So
they are,
you know, but this helps just make,
it's like you created a hybrid here.
a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Now you give him 1,000 medium-sized chairs. Yeah, I can't do it. He can do them cheap as crap. You know, you can't meet that. But some real small stuff, I can actually come to compete. And
right, I think this is such an innovative, and we've got more photos to show people too. It's not just this one, but like I think this one kind of is a key one because it shows you like what, yeah, it shows you secret, a little bit of a secret. I mean, how you've managed to kind of cross that line between, you know, pulling down some of that tech that, and that's kind of really what the show is about, is trying to garner some of the best techniques and optimization that line coders have to divulge. And this is the perfect example of what we're trying to accomplish on this show, is like just to tease out some of these tips that we could alter for ourselves as custom coders and maximize our profitability and quality, because you are, you know, you're still managing to get, you saw the website, guys. I mean, you can see the quality that they're putting out, yet they're doing thousands of parts and they are a batch coder. I mean, it's like you have the trifecta, Denny. You really have, and I know you're very humble, so I'm trying not to overdo it here, but I am just so giddy sometimes when I see some of the stuff that you're doing.
You know, those parts, that customer, I mean, that's an A-class finish spec. I mean, and you know, they have metal defects and stuff like that we reject and stuff but I mean, you know, 2 little specks of trash that are big enough, we'll reject a part. And doing that and getting the proper pre-treatment and the clean shop and, You know, it's all about the wash and the pre-treatment too. You got to get it clean. But, you know, we'll run, we call those frames, obviously. And we'll run 40 frames and maybe have 2 frames of
That's
parts
incredible.
that we need to do. I mean, you know, it's dialing in the right powder, the right process, the right applicator and everything. There's a lot to it, but it took us a while. But I mean, you know, yeah, and I make good money on it.
Yeah.
And I use it for a lot of other manufacturers. I actually have 2 big companies that we call it our small parts division. I mean, they're small parts. And it's probably 25% of my business. I'll be honest.
You are literally, I mean, I understand that a batch coder could maybe never really compete with a line coder on, you know, just because it's 2 different systems. But, you know, you are definitely pushing the envelope and hard charging it too. I mean, like, so I want to go back to the video because I really like your dad's video. So let me share the video again.
And I have to say, he just randomly did this, which is always sometimes the best work ever, but it's lovely.
It just really runs through quickly what all you guys are, you know, how you have your setup. So there's those racks we just talked about.
Tons of door handles. God almighty.
Now he's going to get into some of the jobs.
We run big shit too.
Yeah. Just get
we'll run anything. DJ powder coating, we'll powder coat it. That's our blast booth.
Oh, wow. It's huge.
Yeah, we actually built that too ourselves. Now we have the reclaim system in the back.
I mean, it's just jobs. Everywhere you look is a job. It's crazy.
Forklift. I need a new one. I built that rack too, actually, just to make efficient. Yeah. We get busy. We get space. Aluminum extrusion. Go to Lowe's. Car chassis. Do about 3 a week of those.
Screens.
Yeah, that's a good customer. I have no idea what those are. Aluminum canopies.
And I just want to remind the audience that you guys are batch coders because it's really hard to tell that you are at this moment, you know? And I think your dad starts to run out of breath right now.
Probably. He's a big guy. He's a good dude. See, those are aluminum awnings and oh man, I remember that. That's a rack we made for just a specific customer. That's a ton of aluminum extrusion. I think about 100 feet. Those are
those prison doors you've been working on too.
Yeah, those are going to get sublimated. I love doing those things. Talk about easy coating. Yeah, there's our new booth. I cleaned it. My oven was down, so I had to got a little bit.
That's about how big ours is.
Yeah, and I will put a little shout out.
Ours is 20 feet, but
I'll put a little.
Look, I love that gun on either side.
You know, and we mentioned Terry. I'm like you know what? And actually, my applicators came up with that.
What's that?
My applicators came up. I was like, you want the guns on both sides or do you want them on either side? I don't know why I didn't think of it, but they did. And they were like, oh, yeah, let's put them on both sides. And I was like, okay, let's do that.
Yeah. I like this next scene, too. I love this next scene.
Washroom needs a little bit of all the wands. Oh, I'm a little embarrassed. Yeah. I love my PM system. Oh man. This was late at night, so we're masking. Oh man.
It's almost over. There's your powder room.
Oh, that needs work. It looks organized, but oh man. Actually, you know what? For me personally though, I mean, I always feel like that, you know, you have to always strive for something, you know. I'm my own worst enemy, but I am very, very proud of what I built. But I just always feel like I can do better. And you know, it's a virtue vice. It's, you know, it's your strength is your weakness, and
Yeah,
you
I
know,
know the feeling. I mean, it seems like it's just never enough. I think you and I
we've had plenty of
kind of
late
coached each other the other day about that, you know, like about how it's just never enough. And I Ross is the same way. There's a lot of coders out there. It's just nope, can't go out till it's perfect, or it's just got to keep building it. It's never enough. And you know, I think it's what's driving innovation in our industry,
Yeah.
specifically in custom coding. So it's exciting. I'm glad there's a lot of other neurotics out there with me and with us sharing the
Well,
ride, you know?
absolutely. And you know, I told you the other night, I listened to your podcast with Kaiser.
Jace Kaiser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kaiser. Yeah, Kaiser. You know, and it kind of motivated me. And actually, you know, I mean, it just,
He
you
does
realize other
motivate you.
people that have the, you know, we're all in the same boat, and we all, you know, we all have different struggles, but we all have the same goal, and which is to obviously make money and make things smoother. And anybody in some powder coating world period is probably feeling the same thing. And it was really good. It's really kind of nice to hear that other people are the same thing. And but I mean, then when I stepped back and watching that video just now, actually, it was kind of, it is a little humbling. It's kind of like, man, you done all right.
Yeah.
You know, you're not doing bad. Don't beat yourself up too much, and you know, just roll with the punches. Just take one day at a time, and just baby steps. You know, you can't fix everything overnight. You just have to. And when I
Yes,
look,
that literally happened to you this week.
yeah, literally. Oh God, you know, powder coater without an oven is not a happy man. So, you know, and
Yeah.
then the parts and everything, but was down for a couple of days. And luckily I have another oven, but
Yeah.
still a lot of damage control. But we got up and running, and guys worked late.
It's never good when something breaks on a 3-day weekend, for sure.
No,
You know it's going to go bad from there.
yes. You know, especially when I'm up there Friday and we were closed. And
What ended
man,
up being the problem? Did you figure it out?
we did. It was the temperature controller and the Blemo controller. It was a combination of things,
Oh,
just
okay.
like every, excuse me, just like every powder coating issue. It's normally not one thing, it's two.
Right.
But finally got it running. We're up to date. Guys are rolling. And yeah, so.
Yeah. Because something like that, when you're at the level that you're at, and you know, I'll leave it to you if you want to disclose what you make, but you know, when you're at the level that DJ powder coating is at, that could be catastrophic. You know, thankfully you have good systems in place though, in case something like that does happen, you can catch up quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I mean, well, I'm pretty proud, and you know, we got 40 under 40, or I guess I got 40 under 40. I didn't even know that I was signed up for it. My dad and actually my aunt, which is my office manager, it is a true family business, but we work well together. But they kind of sent in the article. We got 40 under 40, 2017, I think. And we, I mean, at that time, 2017, I guess 2012 was really when I kind of established myself, but we hit $1 million in overall sales in 2017 yeah. And it's all a big blur, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
it just goes by so fast. But and that's the thing. It's like, step back, take a moment, and I need to do this more. It's bad. I'm bad about it, but take a moment and absorb your accomplishments. And and so we did. But when something goes wrong, when you're doing that and you got a lot of employees, and I was hoping to be up and running about 10 o'clock this morning, and we were up and running by 1. I had a guy just on standby. He didn't even take a lunch. He was like, let me know when I wash. I'll just wash. And I sent my coders to lunch and just come back and just hammer through it. Just go. Let's get it done right, but let's get it done efficiently. And that's, so.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but as frustrating as it is, I still wouldn't change my profession. And that's from the heart, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's look at some more pictures of we're going to talk about
skinnies. I love my skinnies. I love them.
We're introducing you guys to the language of Denny with this podcast. When Denny and I were first talking, he was just talking like as if everybody knew what he was talking about. Ross and I were like, what's a skinny? So we're going to show you what a skinny. I got to find a skinny first. So let me. I think I found a skinny to show people. And I could be wrong. I'm still learning what a skinny is, but
so
it's
crucial.
a North Carolina thing that Denny came up with. Is this a skinny, Denny?
That is a skinny.
Okay.
Now that's a that is a short skinny because it goes in my back oven.
Short skinny.
Well, it's still skinny. But it literally is the length of my oven. I got a 15-foot oven and I got a 20-foot oven.
Okay. So you call it a short skinny?
Well, actually,
or small skinny. Okay.
Small skinny. But yeah. But
and so what makes up a small skinny? So like this is you call a rack called the skinny, and this is how you made it. What's it made out of?
Well, it's just regular steel. The whole purpose of this is, when I built my first rack, it was huge. It was as wide as my oven. So, but you only usually hang by one point. You have two hooks and you're hanging, these chairs,
Right.
You're hanging by one hook or two hooks on one line. So I'm like, well, let's just narrow the rack so we can preheat and cure at the same time. So I got this rack and then the two other racks. Both of those can fit in my 8-foot oven very easily.
Yeah, let me see if I think, is it zooming?
Well, actually, yeah. Actually, if you look back there,
little bit. Yeah.
And see the rack on the other side, right to the right, is the one I hang the chassis on. That's only like 5.5 feet wide.
This one right here?
Yeah, so that's a full. Actually, we just call it chassis rack.
Yeah.
Or a big rack. But you can see, that'll go in my oven with still tons of space. But both of those can go in, and actually you can see all the parts. I took that tonight before I left.
Mm-hmm.
So both of those can fit, preheat and cure side by side.
Right, because the width of your oven is wider.
Now let me preface this by, you have to know your cure times And
you have to track your cure times.
Yes, and you need to know what your oven temperature is, because opening the door and closing the door will change your oven temperature and your cure time of your part. It will slow a part down. But in ways with small parts, you can always have something preheating, curing, coating, and going back. You just got to figure out your cure times to make sure you're not. We always add a 5 minutes or what, depending upon the part, we always add a little bit of cure time for opening the door, possibly twice or once, depending upon your job. But so you have to know your cure times, because your cure times cannot get, you can't just, this part cures 25 minutes, and then you open the door, it will change if you're right on the edge. So you have to know that first. But once you figure that out, Data Pack, or actually my dad designed a temperature profiling system, which we use all the time. And, once you know that, then you can maximize efficiency, and you can always have something ready to go. And, my industrial side, this is actually the custom side is what we call it.
Mm-hmm.
But my industrial side, there's always a rack that is ready to be powder coated. There's a rack that should be curing and preheating, vice versa, depending upon your scheduling and cure times, and you got to figure all that shit out. But, you can always have something ready to powder coat, and the whole goal is to keep your oven full and always have something curing. And I like the flexibility of this. You can always do that, but even with big racks, you can always maybe rotate something, but this is the flexibility of stuff, and it just works for us. I don't know. I mean, we do.
No, when I saw this, Denny, when you first showed me some pictures, and I'm like, what is that? And you were starting to talk about skinnies, and I was just like, whoa, this is different. This is like, I've not seen everybody's still doing the box thing, like that's just how everybody else has always done it. And you guys are so out of the box on this. You literally out of the box.
And I just, people just, it just makes, because even if your oven's 8 feet wide, I guess the biggest advantage to this is, I've seen other people stack all these different parts on a big box and stuff like this, but this, like with a double or a skinny, we have a line on one side and a line on the other. And then we have, basically you got 3 lines in the oven. You got your dub with 2 lines, and then you got another one with 1 line. And it actually makes it a little bit easier for the coaters to, because you can stack a shit full of stuff on a big ass rack, but then you're maneuvering and
that's
getting around these racks, and it's like for your coder purposes. Here's a line, here's a line, here's a line.
I love that. I love that thinking, because I always think Ross is going to trip or something, because he's so agile, even though he's a big bull in a shop.
Or bump into the daggum parts when you're trying to coat them, because there's one behind you and you're trying to get into this corner and trying to get into that corner. And it's just, I think it actually came from my coders. Or, I looked at my coders and I'm like, they're always hitting shit. And I'm like, let's just.
I think I want to show. Okay, so so I think I have a picture of the doubles. So let me put that up on the screen. So let me share this one. Is this a double?
Yes. See, here's the thing. So that's a double. When I got it burnt, they bent it. See where they bent it over there left?
Yeah.
Assholes.
But it's basically like the skinny.
Is it skinny?
It's just a little thread comes out.
And you know all I made those out of? You know the racking that you put up in your shelves? That's all that is. Yeah. That and some regular, I built all those racks and I built them exactly the way I wanted them. And, you know, but so what we'll do, I'm pointing, I know you can't see. So we'll have a dub and a skinny. Both of those. Right. And there's enough room. I think the dubs run around like 3.5 feet and the other one runs a little under 2 feet. So you've got some room to get them in there in the oven. But the point of it is you can't, you know, you can fit all that in the oven, but if you were to put that on one rack, it'd be a pain in the butt to actually try to wash all that and actually coat all that on one big rack. Right. And it takes more time. I mean, those things cure in my oven, they cure in 28 minutes with plenty of time. And, you know, they're thin sheet metal. So it's like, let's keep them coating. They can coat it and go on along. And here's another one here. That's where you got to get creative. Yes. Nobody's going to accuse you of not being creative, Denny. Oh, I actually love that part of my job. My guys are like, I can't hang this. I'm like, all right, I got you. Let me figure this out. So I like this one here because it's a kind of a, what do you call this one? It's kind of a double and a skinny. Well, technically, that was just, which is actually something I want to do on my skinnies because there's times where I have parts. This is actually my next thing because the skinny is, say, 2 feet wide. Well, I cut this thing at 2 feet wide. Well, then there's times. So I just put this on to have another point of reference to make sure this was stable. And I just tack welded that sucker on. But I've also, but it's a way for you to hang something straight up so it's easier to powder coat, you know, because you do need to have that level line. I'm not sure how many powder coaters do that. I know Ross knows that one of the keys to really setting up your powder coating operation or your method is to hang things straight and as you see them. I mean, unless very far, you know, like occasionally you'll have to hang something odd, but for the most part, this is the best way to powder coat because you hang it as you see it, kind of thing. Yes, and I mean, just like every powder coater, you know, one of my guys hung it upside down, and I'm like, no, that's completely wrong. So I changed it. You know, I mean, you're gonna have to deal with that, but just get creative and think about it. And it was my shipping guy that helped him to do it. But I mean, it's, you know, I mean, this is something that you want to see what you got. You know, this is the way it's going to sit and it's the way it's going to be done. Came out beautifully. Guy actually loved it. And good old classic flat black. Let's see if there's any more. Let me see if there's any more pictures here. I think there is. Okay, so here's another close-up of the Mighty Hook for multiple parts. Here's another picture of that you sent. Sort of an up-close picture of some, looks like some door parts. You know what those are little, you know when you close your door and the little locking, they're strike plates. Strike plates, yeah, that's what they're called. Yeah, they're strike plates. I do 3,000 of them at 55 cents a piece, and I make great money.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, you would if you did it like this.
I mean, they're staged. They can run them just bam, 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 straight through.
Yeah.
And they take forever to hang, but.
Because Ross would only just daisy chain them in art, because the way we would do that, I mean, it would take forever. I mean, this is just brilliant. Really, it is.
And honestly, the Mighty Hook system, everybody should at least have like 10 Mighty Hook racks in their shop and a multiple bars, because you got to burn them at least. But you know, when I do candy parts, you know, you do a motorcycle wheel with candies, and then you've got your little tiny little parts and all that stuff. Hang them on these things. Even motorcycle parts, just take the time, hang them on this stuff, and just it eliminates so much headache. And you know, just the washers, you know, the bolts, or you know, just all these, you can just tier everything so well. Oh,
let's see what else we got. Let's see. Well, this is a nice shot too. Let me share this one. Kind of a far away, you know, just so you can see how many you guys can stack. And this is a finished one, so let's zoom in on it, because these are finished, right?
Oh yeah, they're finished.
Yeah, so the ones that haven't been done are back here. So you do have a burn off oven. So let's talk about what happens with these racks after. Or do you not? How do you clean these racks, or how do you maintain the...
So what we do is, can you zoom back in the very, very back? You see,
I can't think I can zoom in anymore on this one, but
okay.
I think I can go back to this original one.
No, you're fine. I mean,
there was another one in here. Here we go. I think this is...
Well, it's actually in the very back of the, actually, I'm sorry, go back to the other one.
Okay.
I should have.
Here we go.
Yeah, you see where those red, blue, and green buckets are? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now you see to the left, right there in the back? No, all the way in the back. That. Nope. To the right.
This. To the right.
That is all Mighty Hook bars.
Okay.
So what we do is we will stack them up, and we will burn them off, and then we'll just kind of brush blast them real quick, and then we just put them back in the frames, and then every now and then we'll burn the actual frames. Mm-hmm. So we do have, I have no idea how many bars we have, but it's a lot. But yeah, there's a rack there, and there's about 3 or 4 that are hidden by other stuff. So we have multiple bars. There's probably some in the burn off oven. But you know, we do a lot of parts. If you don't do that many parts, you don't have to have any bars.
Right.
And
you just need enough to rotate.
Yeah, you just have to have some to rotate. And you know, and then you burn them off and blast them. I mean, trust me, burn off maybe down, or we're getting backed up on the burn off or something like that. Sand them a little bit and send those suckers right on. So
yeah, I'm sure there's lots of solutions to cleaning racks and making sure
if you can keep clean hooks, then you can keep clean bars.
Yeah.
You know? So and the way the Mighty Hook's designed, it always hooks back up underneath and doesn't get any powder, so there's always a decent ground. Clean the hooks up at the top. Now they don't come with the hooks. We had to make all that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I attended a custom coder forum back in 2018, and one of the presenters was Mighty Hook, and the guy could talk for a solid hour just on hooks and racks. There was no shortage of content to talk about in that 1 hour seminar, and he probably could have just kept on going. I had no idea. My mouth was dropped open after that. I mean, a lot of it was for line coding, but like, seriously, the next time the Mighty Hook guy calls, you guys, you might want to listen in on what he has to say, because he might be game changing with Denny's way and Mighty Hook. And I'm not trying to promote Mighty Hook. There are lots of other powder coating hook systems out there. This is just one of them. You know, it's crazy how you've managed to just figure this out and utilize the best of what line coders take for granted, I guess.
And they do. And, you know, this has actually kind of gotten me into, you know, like I said, I've got a close partner that has a line, and, you know, I can do the big stuff and the real small stuff. You crush me all day on medium-sized stuff. But hey, you know, I send him jobs, he sends me jobs, meet in the middle. And, you know, there is a place for line coding, and there's a place for batch coding. And, you know, when I'll be honest, all those strike plates he tried to do, and he couldn't do it on a line. I'm dead serious. Yeah. You know, I mean, because I was filled up with some of this, and we literally, he's actually right next door. I mean, we work 2 separate companies, and we just work together.
That's good.
And, you know, he couldn't do the strikes. And because we are a batch, we can control how much powder output and how fast we're not chasing parts, we're coating parts. You know, and I apologize to any line coders out there listening, but
there aren't many, if any.
Well, that's good, because, you know, you got to stand up for the batch boys, you know, and
yeah,
you know, we can lower our powder and coat the part, and we do 3,000 of them, and I had to go up on price, but still, they're still with me. I've probably done 10,000 of those things in the last 3 months, and it's just seamless, and they're easy.
Yeah, and I there are some companies that I follow that I've noticed have picked up some new accounts that are, I would say, more automotive based.
I use that same principle.
Like muffler covers and like that kind of stuff. I've noticed. I've met a couple coders that have those, or they'll just buy them and use it. It'll be like their side business, you know, like kind of thing, you know, where they got a nice price on, you know, just because it's just merchandise they can sell, and they can make it. They could use their extra powder, leftover powder, and just utilize that old stuff and keep it fresh in their powder room, and just, you know, sell it online on eBay, you know, or wherever. So, you know, it's just kind of thinking about different kinds of ways you can use Denny's ideas here that are just really, really and, you know, I know you were kind of humble at first, because I'm like, dude, I haven't seen anybody doing this. And you're like, wait, what? You know, like, oh, I was just trying to solve a problem in my shop and stuff, you know, but I think it's really something that people should think about. And maybe they're not going to use it today, but they're going to remember this podcast. They're going to remember what you talked about. And then their minds are going to, they just made a new neural connection in their brain, right? About how to do something different.
Absolutely. And always just think outside the box. And the best way that I could say is to learn that is order 3 or 4 of those Mighty Hooks. It's minimal cost. And then, you know how many pictures online. Everybody's seen them, where you got all these little parts hanging on this big old rack. Now imagine all those little parts in a 4-foot square.
Yeah.
You know, and it's easier to coat, and it's it's worth taking a look and then splitting them up. Can't always do a hot pass, but get your coders to learn how to not do a hot pass, and when not to do a hot pass, and they'll become better coders either way. If they can lay powder down cold and make it look good, then you're good to go. I don't know. You call it that. I don't know. That's
hot flocking.
Hot flock, hot pass. Yeah, this is North Carolina. That's what we call it, hot pass. So, but I don't know. It's fun. Every day's a challenge. Just gotta keep digging and keep innovating and just make things more efficient. That's the key to this game. Is every powder coater only has so much they can get in their certain area to get a job. Your quality and everything can go so far, but the more efficient that you can get things through that oven will make all the difference in the world. If you can cut 2 racks into 1 or 1.5 in a way, if you can make that thing, cut it down. Think about your oven first. Think about your oven time. Think about your coders, how to get it out the most efficient way possible, and to keep your quality up. And that's the name of this game.
Denny, you are, I've met some really smart people in the industry. Jace is another, is one that we talked about earlier. I think he was episode 9 or 8 or 9 or something like that.
I like that dude.
He's all about problem solving, and he's all about conveying, he does it in a way that is sort of talking to his customer. He somehow can talk to his customer and the industry at the same time. He's really has a great way of doing that, especially with his blog and stuff.
Yeah, I like his blog.
Yeah, and I think you are just like him. You have so much wisdom and insight. I mean, obviously, you've been doing this since you were 14. This is not your first rodeo. You have so many great insights, and I would just want to thank you for coming on the show today, because I know you had kind of a crazy weekend with ordering parts for your oven and problem solving, and then yet you managed to fit in time for a podcast today, and I appreciate that very much, and love to have you on the show again.
I'd love to. It was fun. It was actually good for me.
Yeah,
kind of makes all that other bull crap go out the window.
Yeah, and I'll just share your share your website one more time. DJ Powder Coating. They're in Kernersville, North Carolina. What is that? Is that like north? That's the northern part of
It's in between, like, for most people probably know, Raleigh and Charlotte. I'm smack dab in the middle.
Okay.
So
someday maybe I'll be there.
I hope so. I need to update my page too.
No, well, this is okay. I actually kind of like your website. It's needing another page pretty soon, but
yes, it is.
Yeah, but we're working on that, and Denny is going to come back soon. I promise you that. We've already committed to that. But thanks again, Denny, for coming on the show. Happy to share your ideas and insights on racking today.
Absolutely. I much appreciate it, and I very much so enjoyed it.
All right.